You want a piece of me? What? Premature.
The Resident Evil series is in the middle of finding itself after the critical and commercial train wreck known as Resident Evil 6. Full disclaimer, the only Resident Evil game I've ever played was RE4. Until now. The HD remaster of the first game was free on PlayStation Plus, so I had no excuse not to visit one of the founding fathers of survival horror.
Resident Evil.
You start the game by choosing either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield to be your character. They're both members of STARS, an elite special forces unit. I have legitimate doubts of how well trained these characters are. Yeah, Jill, let's just stand there and not reload and watch while our companion gets eaten by dogs and still not reloading. I'm no ballistics expert, but it looks like none of those dogs were actually even hit by anything, too. So that's a good start. And what? We fell down? Thank you, Chris, for being the only person who knows how to do anything. As long as you don't turn around mid-chase for no random fucking reason. Oh, there we go. Anyway, the STARS team is chased by dogs into a spooky mansion. And before you consider this a flimsy foundation for a plot, just remember Berserk did it. So it's okay with me. The team gets split up because reasons, while they try to find a way out of this death trap of a mansion. Oh yeah, there are zombies, by the way. A shit ton of zombies. But before you roll your eyes, the game has more than just zombies. Giant spiders? Check. Giant snake? Check. Giant shark? Kind of.
Lizard people?
Check. I swear to God, Resident Evil is the fucking Swiss Army knife of B-movie horror cliches. While the story is cheesier than Mayor McCheese's annual orgy with Chuck E. Cheese, Chester Cheetah, and, I don't know, the fucking Cheezosaurus Rex, it's kind of endearing in a B-movie kind of way. It's dumb, sure, but at least it's entertaining. It's even coupled with the bad writing and flat voice acting to top it off.
You viral cultured freak!
As is the case with most zombies, they're allergic to hot lead, so Chris and Jill will have access to a few different weapons. The shooting is pretty straightforward. When you take aim, you automatically target onto the closest enemy, with the option to aim up, down, or straight ahead. Choosing where you shoot will deal extra damage depending on what you're fighting, and plus you get to look like you're in an audition for the next Birdemic. But the true beauty in the combat is actually how its clunkiness prevents you from being a super zombie-slaying soldier, which would kill the tension of a survival horror setting faster than the black guy in every movie. And since you don't have much ammo and most enemies have the potential to rip your face off, you want to get through each confrontation as efficiently and as safely as possible. It's a fantastic balance that holds up well even to this day. On top of that, if you don't blow a zombie's head off, they may revive as a faster, stronger, and all-around more threatening red zombie. To prevent this, you can light the zombies on fire once they're down. So there's even a bit of strategy in how you burn the bodies in the areas you plan to return to. As an HD re-release, this Resident Evil is also done quite well. It looks really good for how old the game is, and it still retains the charm of the original. Capcom also got rid of the tank controls, and coming from someone who runs away from tank controls at least faster than this guy, I thank them. When you're not fighting for your life, you're solving puzzles that range from the simple push block here to more cryptic challenges. The puzzles provoke enough thought without being too frustrating, and still add to the creepy atmosphere with their deprived tone and danger, although as a whole, they probably land on the easier side of things. Resident Evil has a decent amount of replayability as well. Jill and Chris play differently and have different advantages and disadvantages. They also have different cutscenes, which is a big motivation for anyone who's a story-driven player. Toss in a couple of new zombie spawns to keep you on your toes, and some costumes, and you have a very enjoyable second playthrough. The level design is hit or miss though. The mansion is a convoluted, dense maze, and it keeps the player confused and lost. Which sounds bad now that I say it, but it's good for the horror setting. Sadly, the other environments aren't nearly as well designed and incredibly linear. It's more than a little of a letdown because it really drags down the latter half of the game. As a game that came out in the same year as The Nutty Professor, Resident Evil has a decent number of staples from 90s game design, the most obvious being the fixed camera angles. And just like some 90s fads, these can be forgiven. Can this shit happen? Of course, it happens quite a bit, but the developers mix in practical shots with artistic angles that add a sense of claustrophobic dread of what could be around the next corner. I got more than a couple decent scares solely because of the camera angles, so while occasionally annoying, they do add quite a bit to the overall experience, especially with the updated character designs. However, some of the old design choices are less forgivable, primarily the inventory system and backtracking. Jill has 8 inventory slots and Chris has 6, presumably because he's a little bitch. I don't care how old your game is, but if you make No Man's fucking Sky look like the patron saint of bottomless inventory, you're doing something wrong. And I get it. Putting limits on what the characters carry adds weight to each decision as a player. But come on! In what world does a grenade launcher take up as much space as a goddamn fish hook? This issue only gets worse because you're backtracking all the time because of the small inventory. I found myself constantly taking back ammo, health, and keys across the map to the storage chest. It artificially tacks on playtime and really gets annoying when you just want to progress through the game. And while I'm on that note, fuck this door. The backtracking would have been so much more tolerable if this door was kicked down. Oh no, the door handle is broken and only opens one way. Guess you'll have to take the long way around even though there's a save point and storage chest that connects to every other major area. And while we're on saving, whose bright idea was it to have consumable items necessary to save the goddamn game? Nitpicking aside, Resident Evil is still a great game that lives up to this day. It shows a little bit of age here and there, but I can see why it's often heralded as one of the signature survival horror games. Resident Evil gets a B.
You bastard.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to check out another video, like, subscribe, insult me in the comments, do whatever you want. But yeah, I'll see you guys later for another review.